In 2007, a Chinese photographer by the name of Jiang Zi took a photo of a nail house, which is a house that refuses to move when new real estate is constructed around it, and had it displayed at the Shihen Hong Kong Biennale of Architecture. Nearly a decade later, the photo was taken down because it was not classified under a safe image by the eyes of the Chinese government. This is not the first time censorship has occurred like this. In fact, censorship has been going on for a long time. This censorship of people's thoughts is one of the same of the censorship of art. Now, many people will disagree with the fact that censorship is obviously wrong. However, I believe that art in all forms is meant to cause a reaction, and what is offensive to one person may not be to another. A main point the opposing side might bring up is that censorship can be a fine-tuned system for protecting children. However, this is not true. According to the NCAC, the National Coalition Against Censorship, they state that censorship in school limits the learning potential of students. Missing such things as sex ed actually increases the chances that a child will not know about safe sex or the dangers of such things as HIV or AIDS, and there, in fact, be more likely to contract them. It also warps the kids' minds with never being shown what real life is actually like or how situations might play out, by giving them the illusion that there's always a happy ending. Censorship leads gaping holes in a child's learning abilities. In many religious schools, they just downright refuse to teach Darwin's theory of evolution since it goes against their beliefs. This is censoring information from students, forcing opinions on them, which is no good. With that, there's also the fact that many religious schools actually give extra credit for using the beliefs that the teachers and students have forced upon them, only reinforcing the beliefs. Another point that the other side argues is that many forms of contemporary art seek to push the boundaries of what is acceptable of today's society. The simple answer to that is that they're just running out of ideas. But the real answer is that people are just getting more comfortable with expressing themselves. With communities such as LGBTQ+ and movements like Black Lives Matter, people are being accepted somewhere. Not every piece of art is going to be full-blown nudity or gore, which is still acceptable in the community, but there are many organizations that say that art has no boundaries. According to the NCAC, censorship is an attitude of mistrust and suspicion that seeks to deprive human experience of mystery and complexity. But without mystery and complexity, there is no wonder, there is no awe, there is no laughter. So when there is no thought, there is nothing at all. One of the last big points that the other side is going to argue is that excessive sex and violence in the media can lead to similar behaviors in viewers. This can be disproved easily. According to a study by the APA, the American Psychological Association, states that there is absolutely no connection between violent video games and things such as shootings and hate crimes. The only thing that can really affect those are pre-existing mental issues and disabilities. Anyone with a sane mind is not affected to the point of mass destructions. Only signs of minor aggression increases. This can be said the same with pornography. The APA has also done a study on this, stating that a normal viewer, the effects of pornography is only in the moment. There is no increased feeling of rape or the over-sexualization of men or women. The only effect noted was that increased the want for affection or the need for a lover. Now that the opposing side is out of the way, we can get into the real problem of censorship, such as the lack of exposure leading to the sheltered individual. As stated before, missing such classes as sex ed do cause a bigger issue with the spreading of the diseases, and such but other issues can be seen firsthand by observing other countries and how they do censorship. Countries such as China, North Korea, Iran, South Korea, Syria, and Vietnam have restricted things such as turrets, pornography, political media, and even social media. Now, let's look at the Chinese citizens for a moment. Most Chinese citizens do not know their country's history or parts of it because the government is not allowing them to access it. An example of this would be the Tiananmen Square protests. Citizens cannot even look this up, let alone mention it online, or the government-hired censored will shut off their internet entirely. China has multiple companies just based around trying to censor anything and everything that criticizes the government. This leaves citizens not being able to form opinions at all without someone saying that it's not allowed. That leads right into the next topic, that people must form their own opinions on topics and subjects. Now let's take a step back and look at some of the things that religious schools force upon their students. First of all, the parent is forcing his or her beliefs onto his or her children by basically telling them that this is what they should believe. Secondly, there's the fact that religious schools force upon these beliefs more, even going to the extent of punishing students that do not follow orders. This gives the child the mindset that if they do not follow what others are telling them, that they are going to be punished for it. And this restricts them from thinking from themselves. A specific example of this is quite recent, happening in 2017, where the Webster Parish School District in Louisiana imposed prayers on students. This was deemed illegal years before in the case of Engel versus Vattel. The final point is that creators should be able to express themselves however they want. A creator has full rights over what he or she wants to do, and those rights are protected under the First Amendment, of course. Many courts cases prove this. The famous case of Ozzy Osbourne versus the McCollum family, where one boy's parents tried to sue Ozzy Osbourne for the case of their son's suicide as he was listening to his music during that time. The outcome, of course, was the case states that the artist can express him or herself however he or she wants, and the listener is at fault for the actions that he or she takes as a response to them. The case favored Ozzy, and this set the precedent for all other cases like this in the future. The point of this speech is that I said before, art in all forms is meant to cause a reaction, and what is offensive to one person might not be to another. This is shown by the point stated that lack of exposure can lead to sheltered individuals. People must form their own opinions on topics and lead subjects and not be restricted on information allowing them to do so, and that creators should be able to express themselves however they want. Instead of censoring everything that offends someone, people should just accept that there are going to be things that they don't like or agree with. Fight for the right of artists all around the world, and do not let the true meaning of their work go to waste. Support organizations such as the NCAC, and whenever you see a case of censorship against art, do not let it slip by. Just one case could lead to the end of expression.